week is National Poison Prevention Week, and while much of the efforts are nationally geared towards kids, we have to remember that our pets are just as vulnerable to ingesting potentially life-threatening common household items. And joining us today is the Arizona Humane Society's President and CEO, Dr. Hansen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Ashley.
So veterinarian and toxicologist, so he's got all of these precautions to take down pat, and he's here to share those with us today. A lot of pet owners may not realize that a lot of these toxic items are right under our nose or in our kitchen cabinets.
It's very important to poison-proof your home so that dogs are not exposed. And what's also important to remember is dogs can open just about anything. So they chew into pill vials, they chew into containers. They are very good at getting into things.
So as far as household cleaners, what kind of things should we be looking out for our pets?
Household cleaners, especially concentrated cleaners that contain, if the wording says that they kill anything, they kill bacteria, they kill germs, that means they're quite caustic. So especially in the concentrated form, we need to keep those above the counter so the dogs cannot get into them. They can get into cabinets. They should be above the counter.
Medications and things are also a concern.
Medications are the most common reason that dogs are poisoned. Dogs are very, very good at opening child-proof containers. There are no dog-proof containers. The most common medications that poison dogs are anti-inflammatories: ibuprofen, Tylenol, aspirin. Dogs will eat these in amazingly large quantities.
And it can be very dangerous for them.
And it can be very dangerous.
Our emergency animal medical technicians recently rescued a little puppy, just 5 months old. He was a stray that had been picked up. His name was Reese, and he had ingested rat poisoning. When our EMTs picked him up, he was bleeding profusely from his nose. Explain the treatment that he received from our medical team.
So what happens with many rat poisons is that they cause bleeding. So animals will actually start bleeding from their nose. They can bleed into their lungs. It can be very serious, and they can die suddenly. So Reese was bleeding, and what our medical team did was they provided Reese with a blood transfusion and a medication called vitamin K1. The blood transfusion immediately gave Reese's blood the ability to coagulate, so he would stop bleeding. The vitamin K was there to stop any further bleeding from occurring.
And luckily his life was saved. He was adopted, and he's all good now. His owners are very aware that, to keep these things out of his reach. While we always have to be careful of cleaners and aspirin and medications and things, a lot of the foods that we eat are poisonous to our pets as well, especially chocolate.
There's some unique food items that are poisonous to pets. Chocolate, especially if it's a dark chocolate or a baking chocolate, can be very hazardous to dogs. Approximately 1 ounce of baking chocolate in a 20-pound dog can be very dangerous.
Wow.
It takes quite a bit of milk chocolate because there really isn't much chocolate in a milk chocolate candy bar. So it takes more like 10 ounces in a 20-pound dog.
And what other kinds of food should we be looking out for that we might have in our kitchens?
Other foods that are actually much more serious even than chocolate include things such as raisins and grapes. Many people don't realize that raisins and grapes can cause kidney failure, and very likely will cause kidney failure in dogs. It's very unusual. It's very specific to dogs. Macadamia nuts can cause severe depression and even muscle tremors. We like to avoid onions in large quantities. It takes a significant amount of onion. A single slice of onion is not going to harm a dog, but dogs will eat several onions, believe it or not, and they can be problematic. We like to avoid avocados, especially in birds. Dogs and cats aren't such a problem with things like avocados.
More like livestock and birds and things. So what are some signs we should look for? I mean, maybe we came home, our pet's acting a little odd. What are some things to look for if we suspect they might be poisoned?
Well, lucky for us, one of the first things we see with a dog will throw up.
Okay.
So it's important to pay attention to what they actually throw up and describe this to your veterinarian or to the Poison Control Center. As signs progress, we're likely to see either muscle tremors, seizures, or depression.
Okay.
Depends on the poison, but it's a very common progression.
And if someone sees these signs, who should they call?
They should call their veterinarian or their emergency clinic, but I especially recommend that they call the Animal Poison Control Center, which is available 24/7.
And there's the number right there on your screen. Dr. Hansen, thanks so much for giving us the scoop on this. It's so important to keep our pets safe throughout the entire year, and this week brings awareness to that. So we appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. We have more cuteness for you to meet when we come back. We'll introduce you to Daisy and more adoptable pets. We'll also share a story about an